I always thought my mother was just a regular woman. Kind, quiet, maybe even a little too reserved at times. She worked as a nurse for most of her life, always wore the same simple clothes, drove an old car, and never talked much about herself. Growing up, I thought I knew everything there was to know about her. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Because after she died, I uncovered a story so unbelievable that it changed the way I saw her and life forever. It all started the day of her funeral. I was her only child, so the responsibility of sorting through her belongings fell on me. I wasn't ready. Grief hit me like a wave I didn't see coming. I thought I was prepared, but when the house was silent and her scent still lingered in the sheets, I realized I wasn't even close. For the first week, I couldn't even open her bedroom door. But then, one night, something strange happened. A letter slid under my front door. No stamp, no return address. Just one sentence on the envelope. Your mother was not who you think she was. Inside was a photo. Black and white, a little grainy, but unmistakable. It was her, my mother, but much younger, dressed in all black, wearing a scarf over her head, standing next to a man I didn't recognize, holding what looked like a weapon. The handwriting on the back of the photo read, Paris, 1985. The night we stopped him, I stared at that picture for hours. It didn't make sense. Paris. In 1985, she would have been in her 20s then. But I'd never once heard her talk about going to Europe. And who was the man beside her? And what did stop him mean? The next day, I went back to her house and started looking through everything with new eyes. In her closet, behind a row of coats, I found a small metal box. Inside it, a key. Nothing else. No note, no explanation. Just an old, rusted key with the number 217 engraved on it. For the next few days, I became obsessed. I scanned every box, every journal, every drawer in the house. Nothing else hinted at who she had been before I was born. It was like her life started the day I arrived. But that photo haunted me. Eventually, I took the photo to a friend of mine, Sam, who works in digital restoration. He cleaned it up and was able to enhance a background detail, a small cafe sign that read Rue de la Liberté. That street exists, in Paris. So, a few weeks later, I booked a flight. I told everyone I just needed time to clear my head. But the truth was, I needed to know who my mother really was. When I arrived in Paris, I went straight to Rue de la Liberté. It was a quiet street, mostly residential, with a few cafes still in business. I walked into one of them, showed the photo to the elderly man at the counter. His eyes widened. He took the photo, looked at me, and whispered, "She saved my life." I was stunned. He asked me to wait, disappeared into a back room, and came out with a faded newspaper article from 1985. The headline read, "Attempted attack foiled in underground tunnel." There was no mention of names, just that a group of concerned citizens had intercepted a man carrying explosives into the Paris metro. No arrests were made, no credits given. The article said authorities believe the suspect had help from someone on the inside. The man at the cafe told me he had worked maintenance in the metro at the time. He said he saw everything. A group of 3, 2 women and 1 man, followed the suspect, cornered him in a service tunnel, and disarmed him. Before police arrived, they vanished. Just disappeared. No one ever found out who they were. I showed him the key. His eyes lit up again. He said it looked like one of the old service locker keys used in the metro system. He even offered to help me find which station it might belong to. The next day we found it. A hidden maintenance closet in a forgotten part of the station, sealed shut for decades. The key fit perfectly. Inside was a metal case, labeled simply V. Inside were documents, maps, passports, dozens of them, with different names and nationalities. And then, in the bottom of the case, I found letters. Handwritten notes in my mother's handwriting. Plans, missions, details. She had been part of a small, unofficial network of civilians who intercepted extremist threats during the Cold War. A group that operated completely in the shadows, without recognition, funding, or even legal protection. They called themselves the Veil. As I read the letters, I realized something chilling. My mother had risked her life dozens of times. She had been hunted, injured, even interrogated in secret. She wrote about hiding in alleys, being followed through cities, barely escaping on trains. And yet, not once did she ever tell anyone. Not even me. In one letter, she wrote, "If you're reading this, then I failed to keep it hidden. But maybe it's time. Maybe the world needs to remember that ordinary people can do extraordinary things, even if no one ever knows their names." I spent the next few days piecing everything together. She had worked as a nurse not just because she cared, but because she had seen real suffering, real loss, and wanted to heal people. Her quiet life, her distance, her silence, it wasn't from sadness. It was from carrying the weight of everything she had seen and done. Before I left Paris, I visited the metro one last time. I stood in the tunnel where it all happened. I imagined her there, younger, braver, risking everything for people she didn't even know. And I cried, not because I lost her, but because I never truly knew her. When I came back home, I decided to publish her story. I changed names, protected what I could, but made sure her courage wasn't lost. Her friends from that time, the ones who were still alive, reached out in secret. Some sent letters. Some made short, anonymous phone calls. One even met me in person, briefly, just to say thank you. They all said the same thing. She was the best of us. Now, every year on her birthday, I light a candle and read one of her letters. I think about the lives she saved, the danger she faced, the world she helped protect, and the fact that she never wanted credit. My mother wasn't just a nurse. She wasn't just a quiet woman in a small house. She was a hero, and I only found out after she died. But I think maybe that's exactly how she wanted it.